Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining. It has been another crazy week, but crazy good, not crazy bad. And it's the weekend. It's Friday. Thank you for everybody in Europe. Another staying late. And Canada ruled by clowns. Oh, yeah. Let's not get political here. We just focus on the alpha. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Thanks to the mods in the chat. Let's go. It's Friday. The total crypto market blew through $1.4 trillion for the first time in forever, as long as I can remember. The crypto, I think, had over 75 billion traded also in the last 24 hours, which is the highest level in a long time too. Bitcoin is 37,380. And it's the weekend when the stock markets close, Bitcoin and crypto pumps. Always, at least that has been the case. Touch wood, I'm not cursing it. And dominance, who cares? Ethereum is over 2,100, which is pretty amazing. And fear and greed is at 70. It's gone up from 66 since the last time I mentioned it here. So lots of goodness. This is going to be a story about money. Money flow, and where it's coming from. And of course, you know it's edutainment, never financial advice. And shout out to everybody on Patreon too. Yeah, just I love you all. And there are a couple of spots open. Some people got bounced, so please join the family. But then it closes for the bear, hopefully, or for the bull, not for the bear. It's been a very long week, and I must apologize. I haven't slept very much because the markets are 24/7, which is actually a blessing and a curse. And it's just so much excitement, so people know we're up around the clock here. Anyway, I want to talk about a piece of good news, which is kind of interesting. This was on whatever that channel is, CNBS, and Steve Weiss buys more Bitcoin. If you look at the actual description that CNBC had, it says Short Hill Capital, Steve Weiss buys more shares of Bitcoin. If the people at CNBC actually knew what Bitcoin was, they would know there are no shares in Bitcoin. Anyway, Steve Weiss does know what's up. And the couple of things I just want to highlight from this is old money is coming in, all right? This guy has been around the block. He has an amazing track record of success, but his skill in Short Hill's Capital Partners, not apartment, it's a private investment firm. They have over $1 billion in assets. He finds value. His investing approach is to focus on buying assets that he believes are trading well below their intrinsic value. And it was interesting to hear what he said today. He was talking about how this is a supply and demand game. It's brilliant. You know, new people are coming in, and when he talks, other people listen. So shout out to Steve Weiss. Nice work, buddy. Also, futures tipping point, which is kind of crazy. Hello, Berts. How are you? Bitcoin futures open interest here hit that tipping point for the first time ever. Institutional investors have actually stomped out Binance. Okay, so CME futures interest surpassed Binance futures market in size. Again, money flow. A lot of things have not happened either ever or in a very long time. And this is quite incredible, this moment we're living through. And the markets have been absolutely insane. Like we had the October, bonkers. November has been absolutely insane too. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But GBTC is massive. This is from Econometrics, and how huge. A lot of people think, you know, you need a first mover advantage of getting a spot ETF approved. But if BlackRock come into the game, how long will it take them to amass the same amount of Bitcoin that Grayscale has? The answer is quite a long time. And is there even that supply available? That's the interesting thing here. So some cool stats here. If you look at this chart, the orange stuff is controlled by Satoshi. That's 1.04 million Bitcoin. The yellow is controlled by GBTC, and the red is controlled by MicroStrategy. And each block represents about 10,000 Bitcoin. So, two big stats to take away from this. One, Grayscale has $25 billion in assets under management, which is very big. And for reference, that's half the size of the gold ETF. Think about that. And it controls 620,000 Bitcoin. And that's more than half of what Satoshi is thought to control, 1.04 million. And so good luck to the other ETF providers who think they can catch up with them. First mover advantage, many people believe, could belong to Grayscale. But think about that. BlackRock is a machine. And if it becomes a war to who is the biggest, wow, it'll be crazy. And literally, there's only 2 million available that are even liquid. So it's just the whole reason I got into Bitcoin in the first place in 2017 was because of scarce supply and hardness. That was it. And now it's all coming true. So super exciting time to be alive. Now, speaking of more money flow news too, this just came out from the team at CoinShares and James Butterfield. And look at this. Another 200 million came into Bitcoin. The year-to-date flows, 1.036. That's $1.03 billion flew into Bitcoin funds. Ethereum had a positive week, up 30.3 million, but year-to-date still down 77 million. And of course, Solana up another 10.5 million. Last week was 10.6 million. Year-to-date flows 119 million. But of course, it's hard to kind of digest the significance of this, but I'll get back to that. Actually, the charts are out of sequence. This is the part that I want to show. Actually, it's not out of sequence, but I'll jump to it anyway. Follow the money, because we were talking about money. The pink line is what I want you to focus on, and it shows you the actual substantial amount of money flow all year and how minus 77 has flown out of Ethereum and plus 120 has flown into Solana. So there's a clear consensus trade is happening, and it's a clear leader for the year of 2023. Everybody now is following that money, which is awesome. And it's also good to see other people talking about it too. Now let's talk about Bitcoin layers for a second. This is from CryptoCon, and he put together a log regression curve for Bitcoin. And I thought it was kind of interesting because I wanted to see how it mapped up to some of our models too. So Bitcoin currently is making that notable move. It broke above that key resistance level that I call 35.8. And here, CryptoCon, and what's interesting is the confluence between all of these levels. CryptoCon calls $35,179 the fair value of Bitcoin. It shouldn't be trading under the fair value, but sometimes it does, and it has done for a long time during this bear market. But these log regression curves are remarkably accurate in the past, and they predicted both peaks in 2021 and a couple of other cool things too. Now, the price is now venturing into that white expanse zone between the green and the red. Red is when things get a little bit hot. And the next time it pierces the red zone, goes up to $61,156 at layer 5, according to these curves. And while it's uncertain when we will hit that exact figure, it's pretty clear we will. And 2019's rally over fair value layer 4 seems plausible. Now, additional data points as well to potential targets around 48K in the near term are there. I believe 45K, 42K, probably on the cards, and that was my bet for April 2024. But let's see how this compares to the LILO model. And guess what? Their layer, let me get this right, second last layer, we'll call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is 85,102. The top is 118,423. I'm not sure if we'll get there, but if the money flow does come in, we could easily get there. And Sir Winston, I see you out there. Thank you so much. But when I look at my model and compare it and overlay it, the top of the layer in, layer out model now is 84,000, which is almost bang on to CryptoCon's 85,000. But that's where this model taps out. But remember, this model is based on numbers and models. It doesn't know, it can't see the money that BlackRock is preparing to bring to the space and how they're going to configure Aladdin to drive huge investments and allocations across pension funds and huge corporations that sit on billions of dollars in cash and all that type of stuff. That is not taken into account here. So could we hit that 100 and, let me blow it up again so I can see, get the exact number, 118,423? Absolutely we can, especially with the speed at which this market has moved so early in the pre-halving run, the early bull. It's insane. So let's jump a little bit more as well. Let's talk about Ethereum for a second. A lot of talk about Ethereum yesterday with BlackRock having their new fund started up, but Ethereum average gas prices have gone nuts. Some people are paying $160 to transact on the so-called Ethereum World Computer right now. And that is pretty heavy. And that's a lot of money. And that's why there's opportunity for ETH killers, because that's not sustainable for now. We'll see. We'll see what they do. In addition, apart from BlackRock launching an ETH fund, Nomura, which is a Japanese banking giant, also decided to launch their ETH fund via crypto unit Laser Digital. And they plan to bolster institutional investments with this new fund. Again, and that's on top of their launch of their Bitcoin fund in September. So it's all happening. The big assets will get these ETFs first, but then the other ETFs will be fast followers. There's also a lot of talk now about, okay, Bitcoin ETF is coming. A month or so after that, the ETH ETF will be approved. And then after that, who knows, the Solana ETF. And can you imagine what would happen if that's the case? Ooh, exciting times. Anyway, let's talk about some of those other layer 1 and layer 2s and how they compare. Just to look at the daily active users. I haven't pulled this up in a while. But you can see here the number of daily active users for the top 3 chains are Ethereum, 350,000, 352,000, Polygon, 340,000, and Solana, 304,000. And then you see some of the other chains too. Cardano, for some reason, delay by a day in reporting, but they had about 30,000, I think, on November 8th, which is very much in line with Phantom and Avalanche. So they're kind of bottom of the rank. But remember, black hole theories are in effect. 10 chains will not win. That's it. That's just reality of how the world works, unless, of course, crypto is different, which I don't believe it is. Now, we covered that already. Let's talk about FOMO times. People are literally going nuts. I had to buy some Solana yesterday for a certain corporate reason at $45, and I couldn't believe it shot up 20% in just a day. And all of the fear and damage and PTSD from the last 18 months is gone. This thing has gone through the roof very quickly. It's taken a lot of people by surprise, and it's currently trading at $54 on the nose. And that's a big move. It hit over 55 today, and it has a lot of people stunned because it's already a big asset and it's just going up so fast. So what does that tell you for the bull run when it actually truly happens in earnest after the Bitcoin halving? It could be crazy, absolutely crazy. In addition, another news that's everywhere, Solana breaks $50, and it did triple, more than tripled in 59 days, which is insane. So congratulations to everybody who ignored the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Just like the video yesterday, I talked about the most hated assets. They are the ones you need to embrace, not the ones that are popular and love and hate. Embrace the hate. That's what we do here. Now, let's talk about miner fees as well. The miners have gotten hit hard, and I do believe they're very oversold right now, considering the strength of Bitcoin. But everybody's freaking out, probably because some of the rhetoric that I spread that maybe half the miners won't make it after the halving, unless the price goes up tremendously. But here you can see transaction fees as a percentage of miner revenue hit 21.8% of the total revenue earned by Bitcoin miners. And that is just from transaction fees. And that's an additional nearly 2 Bitcoin per block on top of the 6.25 Bitcoin per block subsidy. So that's substantial. And that will help the miners a lot. And for those that are just calculating how many, if a miner X makes 626 Bitcoin a month, the fees will add over 20% to that actual tally, which is substantial. In addition, Ordinals are driving this action too. You can see the big spike on the bottom right-hand chart, all the way to the right. It's not as high as it was back in April 2023, but it could spike up there too. Again, and many people believe post-halving that Bitcoin fees could equate to half of the actual reward. So if they get 3.125 Bitcoin as reward, they'll probably be getting 3.125 Bitcoin in terms of fees as well going forward. So watch this space. The miners are oversold, I believe, and they will come back hard once people learn how to figure them out and calculate them. So could be an opportunity there too. Speaking of other Bitcoin proxies, MicroStrategy returns on hodling so far. You can see here their return on their holdings is now over 24%. And Bitcoin's break-even price for them is about 29,500. And buying and holding, even though they did buy at some pretty heavy levels, has worked out really, really well for them. In fact, I had a chart. Did I forget to share it? Yeah, I did. I shared it on Patreon. I forgot to share it here. But basically, they have made over $1.25 billion in unrealized capital gains on their Bitcoin holdings so far. So Michael Saylor is all of a sudden really looking like a genius. After all of the hard stuff he went through, there he goes. And the stock has been on fire too. It's north of 500 right now. Last time I checked, it's about $511. Now, in some be careful scam news, crypto analytical firm ScopeScan confirmed that Poloniex address transferred all tokens in some scam thing in 40 minutes worth about $60 million to a new address. There's a lot of scams going on right now. And I always said, beware of the sun. Anything associated with Justin Sun tends to have very, very bad luck. So just be very careful there. But be careful of everything as well. Be careful where you go. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful what you connect your wallet to. Be careful of what you download. Be careful of your security, okay? Scammers are out there, the hackers, and they are very sophisticated. As I mentioned before, a very good friend of mine I've known for a quarter of a century was talking to me on Instagram for 3 months. I don't chat to anybody on any social chatter thing. So that's how good they are. He's known me for 25 years and he thought he was talking to me for 3 months. So be careful of scammers as well. Now, another phenomenal exponential news that'll just blow your mind. But in a Lex Fridman interview yesterday with Elon Musk, Elon basically believes the Optimus robot would be able to thread a thread in a needle just by looking at video in about a year's time. And people don't quite understand what that means. We know these things can learn by video, just like the car is a robot that drives around on wheels. This will be a thing with the dexterity in its fingers to be able to thread a needle, which I actually probably can't do because my eyes aren't good enough to see exactly what that's about. So this Optimus robot will literally blow people's minds. And I know Elon Musk is prone to exaggerating timelines, but even if he's half right in 2 years, that's it, game over. And remember, as I said in a video last time, by 2025, 2026, AI will be 1,600 times better than it is today. It's already better than a human today in most capacities too. Another Tesla news as well, because it's been super, super weak, but that's all about to change. I do believe it will have a big rally into the end of the year, and 2024 will be completely bonkers. But this shows you how the CyberTruck production is accelerating right now. These are the biggest giga castings in the world, and they represent about 100 CyberTruck front castings alone. They have the front, they plug it into the back, and that's your truck. It's that simple. It's like making one of those little Matchbox cars. And so far as well, this is early this morning from Joe Tegmeyer. They had pushed 14 new, and there's a couple more on the side, but 14 new Cybertrucks out onto the lot. So they're pumping these things out fast to get ready for the delivery event, which is in about 2.5 weeks, I think. So watch this space. That'll be another tailwind for the space. Now, a little bit of macro news too. Consumer confidence is tanking for the 4th straight month. Shout out to Sanjay for sharing this with me. And that's not good for anything out there. And this is the time of the show where I share some of the hard truth, not necessarily about money flow, but some of the ugly stuff that's happening out there. Also, credit card delinquencies is from Game of Trades have exploded to the highest level in, 35 years, nearly 30 plus years. Year over year, commercial change in credit card delinquency rates as reported by all commercial banks. And that is extremely high, and it's going to explode a lot higher. Okay, this is just one of the many things that are getting hit by the crazy interest rate hikes. And then there was a funny piece that somebody caught on a hot mic or something of Jerome Powell saying, shut the bleep, 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 expletive door. So he's under pressure, he's under stress. Maybe he thinks he's already broken things and he's going to not be the hero he wants to be as he torches the economy. In addition, another sign of torching the economy, record outflows from corporate bond ETFs. What does this mean? Well, let me walk through it because it is important to be aware of. What this means is investors pulled out $10 billion from corporate exchange-traded funds in October. This surpassed the previous all-time high of $9.2 billion ever. This is an example of money flow, but in the wrong direction, signaling huge concerns over the impact of interest rates going up through the roof and inflation on corporate bonds. Now, what they're doing, they're pulling out the money from corporate bonds, which means corporations don't have money to oil their machine to run, and they're pumping it into treasuries because there's less risk. And why do they want less risk? Well, because they're scared about the economy right now. They're scared about an economic recovery. They're scared about managing risk, etc. Scared about an economic slowdown. Scared about corporate credit risk, just like we saw with private credit risk. It's all related. It's all money. and the interest rates are torching a lot of stuff too. So this is extremely bad for the economy. And again, risk happens slowly and then suddenly. In the meantime, people are seeking out safe havens, like maybe ETH, an asset that'll go up and pay yield, or Bitcoin, of course, the ultimate safe haven, and a little bit of deflationary use, which is a little bit of good news too. But deflation's bad. China are having deflation right now. But you can see here they slid back into deflation in October, suggesting domestic demand remains sluggish even after recent stimulus efforts to shore up growth and a lot of money printing, etc. But consumer prices fell 0.2% year over year in October after hovering near zero for the previous 2 months. And producer prices fell for the 13th straight month, dropping down 2.6%. But why is that good? Well, everything is made in China, and a lot of the world buys stuff from China. So as the prices there go down, it makes things go down for the rest of the world, which brings inflation down for the rest of the world too, which is actually good news. So with that, everybody, quick update for today. Let's check the markets because they're moving so fast. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you hit the like, it will present you with other good content as well, because there's a lot of weird content out there, and you don't want to waste your time with weird content or content that will tell you to go down the wrong path in life. This is an exponential time. You've got to be on the right horses, be on the right path, or else you're going to get toasted. So a big thank you to 2,000 people that are there. Thank you to everybody on Patreon too. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning for the weekend recap. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the mods as well. And I see Preston T in the chat too. Hello there. Bye.